I think we need to bring back some Canadian content.
Yeah, I agree.
Some canned content. That's what the people want. They want Canadian content.
Guess what? This whole podcast's Canadian content. And especially this episode.
Dogs, they're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
Hey, they're the dog people, aren't they?
Michael's a normal boy in an abnormal position.
We had a little accident.
You had yourself some sort of extraordinary fright.
Michael, where's your hair? I'm bald.
The proper medical term is hairum scarum.
What a loony.
Now, he's got one hairy problem. And he's about to find a solution.
You can't just come into our house, can you?
Ghosts can go anywhere.
In the least likely place you'd think.
Here's old Charlie's recipe.
A jar of peanut butter. It's a hair-raising, heartwarming comedy adventure for your whole family. See the peanut butter solution.
It's almost like there's some sort of, repressed Canadian memory just in the deep depths of the brain.
Collective Canadian unconscious, yes. We're all hive mind connected. Specifically through very, very strange French-Canadian, as directed by Australians.
No, I get it.
Dream magic.
This is an episode where you were going to say, no, do not make me remember this.
And I go hurling down and down the white water.
All right, well, welcome to Rough Cuts, everyone. I'm Boix. This is Ilion, my co-host.
Hi. I'm the Canadian content. And this is all Canadian content today.
We're watching dog movies here on Rough Cuts. We rate the dog at the end. We do not rate the movie usually. That is the gimmick. And I thought I would play a prank, sort of. Not really.
We got 10 minutes out of this movie, and I still feel like I'm concussed.
The only thing I know about this, so it's Canadian content. It aired on Canadian television. I'm assuming reruns ran constantly. For a while.
I have no idea.
This was 85, so it would have been 85. A specific era of television. Mm-hmm. But this would have ran on your local, I don't know, broadcast television, paid for, like PBS in the States.
My guess is it probably ran, because alright, so let me give the backstory of my experience with this movie today, in that Boix was like, let's watch the peanut butter solution. Apparently it was a Canadian made-for-TV movie, and I'm like...
And everybody who's ever seen this, I've heard on the internet, it's like, oh, I remember bits and pieces, and I thought I made that up, and I have nightmares
because I thought I made that up. And I went, oh yeah, well, I've never seen it. And then I searched I'm like, I'm pretty sure. So I searched peanut butter solution, and immediately a few images came up, and I went, oh my god. And I had eagle screeches in the back of my head, but instead of eagle screeches, because I'm Canadian, it was a Canadian loon and beavers.
There's alarm bells going on.
Alarm bells and bombs and hockey noises. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I made this up. Oh fuck. And yes, so because of that, my guess is it probably appears, so there's CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, so it's government sponsored news and Canadian content.
You have to show Canadian content on Canadian television to enrich the culture. I get
We
it.
do also have a certain, there's like certain requirements and stuff for that. There's the CRTC and, oh God, I'm not going to get into Canadian like radio broadcasting law, but it might have also been on YTV, which was kind of like late night type stuff, like reruns. YTV kind of being like Cartoon Network type stuff for Nickelodeon, like kind of a blend between those.
But this sort of became like a mythos movie. Like, I watched a little bit at a friend's house, and I have no idea what the fuck was happening or how it ended, but I never saw it again. Like,
yeah, it would have shown
things, right?
when they were doing like episodes of Littlest Hobo. For all you Canadians out there that know what I'm talking about.
I'm assuming that's Canadian. I've never heard of it.
Oh man, Littlest Hobo is about a dog that goes from like it goes from place to place every week and like solves a new crime.
Oh, okay. That sounds
great.
Yeah,
it's a little hobo. It's great. It's actually fantastic. It's a little German Shepherd.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. That's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again.
It's like Wishbone.
Sure. It doesn't talk or anything though. Or
this is French Canadian content that was dubbed in English.
Extremely.
So this is actually dubbed, oddly enough. And I don't think it felt dubbed, except for, like, the art teacher felt dubbed, but...
I don't know. I wonder,
But there are definitely
I'm sure, like,
line
Michael
reads that
Hogan...
were awkward, so I'm like,
Yeah, I'm sure that some of them didn't... I don't know, because, like, I'm wondering... Like, all of it was dubbed in English?
Yes.
For sure?
It was dubbed, because it was originally shot in French Canadian.
Huh. Because I'm surprised that everyone in this would speak enough French. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're Canadian actors, but also, really, there's not actually that many French speakers that aren't, like, French Canadian. Whereas you have, like, you have some Degrassi actors in this. Boyks does not know Degrassi.
I don't know
which
that.
blew me away. Like, that was, like, the Canadian content that made it to the States. Like, and it's super, super famous. Like, it was a huge hit. And then, like, Michael Hogan, who is also known as Colonel Saltai from Battlestar Galactica and all of the, like, video games after that, because that kind of relaunched his career. But yeah, he's still old in this, which is the funniest thing to me, because it's like, that man's been eternally old. For 40 years, he's been 60.
That rules. But this was part of a two-parter, technically. There were two movies made.
There was a bunch, actually.
Oh, at least two, then. Because this is from a Tales for All series.
Yes, there's a ton of them. There's like 12 or more.
But the first one is by the same director, which is The Dog Who Stopped the War. We have not seen that. Although I did just find it, so maybe we'll do more Canadian content. But this is the second in the series, and when the opening started, you're like, oh fuck, oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought I got the wrong movie when the opening started, because I didn't realize this was part of a series of films.
There's apparently 25 of them.
Oh, okay.
Including one that was done in 2023.
Weird. So it's still going.
Maybe? I don't...
Because this was... The idea from the director was to make a gentle horror film for kids. When I was reading up on it.
Yeah. And apparently there's actually... So here's the funny thing. There's a Tales for All. This is number 2 in the Tales for All series. There's a Tales for All 0, though. It starts at 0. And it was released 13 years before all the other ones, and it's called The Christmas Martian.
The what?
And I bet that it's actually more comprehensible than this nightmare.
Yeah, after watching The Peanut Butter Solution, I feel like I made it up.
Yeah, it's a movie that is... This is why we haven't talked about the movie yet, because talking about this movie feels like you're 8 years old describing a really weird bad dream that you only half remember.
I feel like I've been cursed.
Yeah.
Like
this is like watching the Canadian Ring.
This is like The Ring, but then a beaver comes out.
But for Canadians, yes.
And there's a Mountie following him. It's like, oh, sorry. Oh.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh. And then you die in 7 days. But, yeah, so the peanut butter solution. I guess let's talk about it. This is like
where
a
would you like to
fever
start?
dream. The closest, there's two things I can say this is close to. Before we get into the plot, this is Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yes.
Mixed with Return to Oz.
Yeah.
As far as kids' films go, Pink Floyd's The Wall is on the top of that list.
But put through the lens of French-Canadianism.
Of a French-Canadian 10-year-old. Yes.
Yeah.
Also...
What's so hard to understand about that?
Also, this just got like a Blu-ray release recently. Somehow.
We did not watch that, by the way.
But we watched the VHS recording, which was way better.
We watched the VHS recording where they kept on fucking with the hi-fi audio.
Which is great. I got the real experience.
Honestly, it really sold the fucking dreamlike quality of this nonsense.
It feels even more made up when it's a VHS recording. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somebody recorded this cursed tape.
So we start with Sister Mommy.
Sister Mommy. What is up with the sister? I don't... She
well,
acts like she acts like the mom of the family, but she's like 12.
I don't think she's 12. I think she's younger than that.
There's something weird about this situation.
But like,
yeah.
Well, the weirdest part to me is that like, okay, so this child is acting very adult-like. And like she's so it starts out she's making breakfast for her brother. I'm pretty sure the brother's older than her, honestly.
Maybe, yeah.
And she's making breakfast for him and like make sure you get ready for school and stuff and like doing all this very mom-coded stuff while she's wearing like a house coat and everything. Like she's even dressed like an adult. The VHS was so fuzzy at first I was like, does she just look young?
Is she just a really short mom? Like, what's going
on? And that's the weird part to me. Like, okay, it's strange that she acts like an adult, but it's way stranger that the dad and the brother are just like, yeah, no, this is normal. And just like let her take care of them, basically.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing like accounting later on.
She's doing their taxes.
Yes! Like,
she cleans up after them.
Yes!
Yeah, what the hell is happening?
She does all the cooking, she's like cleaning, she doesn't go to school.
Well, the dad can't cook, he's too busy drawing birds in the attic.
Well, okay, whoa, not birds. People with bird heads.
People with bird
Very
heads.
different.
But they don't... So the son is depressed. Mike is depressed. The dad is depressed also, but the dad's a painter. He paints in the attic. That's all he does all day is paint in the attic. Because he's depressed.
Yes.
Now you ask, where is the mom in this situation? Oh, she went to a farm upstate in Australia.
Don't worry, she went to Australia. She's fine.
Which I thought was that she's dead, but no.
No, she's just in Australia, dude.
What? And to add to the dreamlike sequences, there's just all these random things cut in that don't seem to connect to anything until an hour or some later.
None of this movie feels like it follows any other part.
Because there's like a scene after it introduces depressed dad who draws birdmen.
Yes.
Sexy birdmen.
Yes.
In the attic. This is pre-internet days. So
I don't know that they're sexy. I think that's Boyk's projecting.
He didn't have a forum to release his
original furry
paintings.
artists. Holy shit. God, he would make a killing on Blue Sky.
This guy would make so much money on commissions. He
has some real good OCs.
Right? So then Mike gives $2 to a homeless guy.
Mike being the depressed
kid,
the main character.
The depressed boy. And then it hard cuts back to, like, them in school now. Oh, no, actually, no, it cuts back to them in breakfast, because we're also introduced to Connie.
By the way, that $2 in Canada is called a toonie.
A toonie. Oh, sorry, I thought we were talking about Canadian content. Yeah, my bad.
Okay, so no, that's okay. Don't worry. I'm here as your federally mandated CRTC compliance officer.
That makes sense.
To make sure there's enough Canadian content in this podcast.
But I forgot that Connie shows up, the like neighbor kid or friend.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
he shows up. He's like, "Hey, everybody, how's it going? Hi, sister, mom, and depressed painting dad. Did you hear about the fire last night? It was great. I stood around while it burned to ashes, and the firefighters were there, and I was inhaling all the ash. Oh, it was fabulous."
Yep.
I think that kid started that fire. He was way too into it.
This is apparently Yick Yu from Degrassi. I never watched Degrassi, but so he's the Degrassi actor.
You can't keep making up Canadian things when we're.
I'm just, listen, federally mandated Canadian minute. You need to put a loon sound in here whenever I cut in with this. A heritage moments.
Heritage moment. But you can't heritage moments me. Like, what are we going to watch the heritage moment about how basketball was invented by a Canadian? Come on.
We could. I mean, yeah, that is one of them, yeah. That's definitely it. Yeah, Naismith. Trust me, this got drilled into me as a child.
There was a hoop on the wall, and they threw a ball at it, so I get it. Don't worry.
Mr. Naismith, sir, it sure slows things down having to climb up here every time.
Well, then let's cut the bottom out of the basket.
But I need these baskets back.
100 years after James Naismith from Almont, Ontario invented it, basketball was being played by hundreds of millions of people around the world.
But this kid is also... There's a bunch of children in this where they act like adults.
All of them act like adults.
For the most part. And they get treated like adults. Like...
Yeah.
So, because Connie and him are friends. Connie and Michael are friends. They go to school. And they're in art class.
I love
art
class.
The art class is amazing. Where a man just named the Senior.
Mm-hmm.
That's just his name. They literally clarify later. His brother clarifies. He's like, yeah, he lost his name. He's now just called the Senior. That they just say that's a thing they say in this film.
No, I get it.
That's a thing they say. He doesn't have a name. But anyway, he has a dog that he's making the children draw. And anytime somebody draws the dog in a non-realistic way, using imagination, he beats them.
Look at the shadow under the berry. 3 dimensions. 3-dimensional. Look at him! That's a pig, is not a dog. Start again. This is accurate. This is the dog. That is rubbish.
Senor.
Start again.
And he rips their art away, and he's like, your art is shit, draw a fucking dog! And he, like, rips it to shreds and throws it in the air, and he's like, fuck you and your art.
Yes, but when he tries to do that to Connie, Connie tells him, this, like, 10-year-old goes, if you do that to my art, I will never attend your class again, Senor. And he goes, well, I can't do that. I need you to attend my class. And just thought, what leverage does this 10-year-old have to not go to school? It's just... It's like they're in college.
I was dying. Every time this man walked up to a small child drawing a dog, is like, your dog looks like shit. The worst dog I've ever seen in my fucking life. And then it keeps
How dare you use imagination in my art class?
It keeps cutting back to the dog, and the dog's being the cutest thing ever, and then it cuts back, wow, that's the worst dog I've ever seen drawn.
They make that like a big plot point almost, that he's like, I fight a war against imagination every day. I'm in the trenches fighting it. He talks like that. That's things he says.
I'm teaching these children realism.
You don't know the terrible battle I fight every day against imagination. Their heads are in the clouds. I tell them to draw dogs. Here they draw fires.
It's so good. It's so good. But then on the way back from art school, because apparently they're all... Are all Canadian children enlisted into art school?
Yeah, French Canadians.
French Canadians specifically.
French Canadians are specifically, yes.
They have to be artistes.
They must be artistes. You get your federally mandated baguette and beret, and then you go to art school every day. And you're allowed to tell your teacher to fuck off if you do it correctly.
Fuck off. It's the French way.
Yes.
I get it. And then they all smoke cigarettes afterwards.
If you do it depressed enough, you're allowed to tell them.
Why they're always depressed?
That's why they're all depressed. So they go home and they see the fire.
The burned down house. The burned down
house. And Michael is like, yo, we gotta go into this burned down house. It's fucked up. And Connie's like, no, it's fucked up. You don't go into a burned out house. And he goes, no, man, I'm gonna see a dead body. He goes, you should probably not do that, Michael. But Michael doesn't listen and goes inside, and when he does, he screams, falls out the window, and, rolls down the rubble unconscious. To which Connie goes, well, might as well stuff him in a shopping cart and take him to his dad.
So Connie went to a grocery store,
yes,
stole a shopping cart from their parking lot, came back. Mike was still unconscious on the pile of bricks and rusted nails.
Yep.
He stuffed him into the shopping cart, walked home, rang the doorbell, got the sister. He's like, hey, by the way, Mike's dead or something.
He's still unconscious at this point. He's still unconscious. This is that Canadian free universal healthcare that we're talking about. You get it. Every Canadian gets a free shopping cart to cart their friend home. The dad is after an injury.
Because later on, Connie is like, "Hey, take him to the hospital." And he's like, "He doesn't need to go to the hospital. He's fine."
Yeah, no. Hey, listen. He'll walk it off.
Walk it off.
And he's laying on the couch now, all fucked up.
Yep. And so I think he goes to bed, and then the cat sits on his head. Their cat that they have.
Correct, yes.
For some reason. This is the only time the cat is ever mentioned or used.
Yep, it's the only time you see the cat at all.
And then the cat disappears, and the next morning, Mike is bald when he wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
so they think that the cat did it.
They think the cat did it, and he's incredibly depressed about being bald.
He is fucking pissed at being bald.
Yep. So they go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, no, it's fine. He just has hairum scarum.
Yes, he got hair fright.
Hair fright. He was so scared that his hair fell out.
He had a fright, you say?
That's right, he did.
It's that fright, for sure. The proper medical term is hairum scarum.
Hairum what?
Scarum.
And he goes, see, look, do it to me. See my hairy hands? Scream at me. And the kid screams at him and he goes, look, the hair fell off my hands.
Yeah, this only happens in Canada, by the way. This is what happens.
This is a Canadian response to stress.
When you get rid of all the rodents in the country.
That's only in Alberta. That's only in Alberta.
And they set up a wall to stop rats.
They set up a rat wall.
What happens is hairum scarum fills the void.
Yes, yeah. When rats can't eat all the hair, you gotta get rid of it somehow, so you do it through scaries.
I guess. And then it hard cuts to Signor talking to the head lady of the school, who you know hits people with a ruler.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, hey, I looked into you after Connie said that you were mean to everybody in class and started ripping up their paintings of dogs.
Yep.
And it said here that you were already thrown out of 2 other schools, and that you said you were a great-great-great-grandson of a famous painter.
Of Rembrandt.
Rembrandt. And you can fuck off out of our school.
Yeah, he has all these like wild stories about his
just making up shit about his
like,
heritage and art.
All the stuff that he sold and different things like that. She's like, what the fuck is... Wait, I've realized that your whole resume is absolute bullshit.
So then it hard cuts from there to Mike angrily drumming at home on their trap set.
Yes. And playing piano.
And playing piano and making the
like
sickest punk song you've ever heard because he's so mad at society because he's bald.
Because he's bald. How dare I be bald?
It's really because he looks like Sinead O'Connor. But, and he's mad about that. And that's fair, I think. But
Sinead O'Connor kind of rules.
She does rule. But when you're a kid in the 80s in Canada, you're like, I don't want to be Sinead O'Connor at the school. They're going to make fun of me.
Fight the real enemy.
So then the dad and the sister grab him. They hold him down, choke him, and they're like, put the fucking wig on.
They're literally like pinning him to the ground as he's screaming and punching and kicking and biting them. And they put a wig on him and then he goes, oh. And just immediately changes.
Oh,
100%.
I have hair now. Yay! I can be happy. I'm not bald. Yay! I'm not a fucking bald loser.
So they glue a wig to him because he's like, well, what if it comes off? And so they glue it. And he goes to a soccer game and gets in a fight. And the other kid grabs his hair so hard that he rips all the glue off and the wig off. And he goes back to being depressed kid. It shows him like in his window in the house, like looking out on the yard,
window,
like
they have hair.
I wish I could go outside. His hand on the window, like longingly.
It's funny because this is another The Wall scene to me, where every kid on the soccer field sees that he's bald, and they all run back after him and chase him home. In a dream sequence.
Yeah, every child, like both teams, his own
including
team also.
His friends.
Yes.
They're like, bald Mike, bald Mike.
They're not even yelling anything in a way, like they're just, it's just like this slow motion, like montage of him like tears streaming down his face as he's running home and all these kids are just chasing with him. It's so fucking surreal.
It's fucking weird is what it is.
Yeah, it's done in a very, like all of it, you have to watch how it's filmed because it is really filmed dreamlike the whole time too.
So that night he gets up out of bed to go get a snack from the kitchen.
Yes.
And there's two ghosts in his kitchen.
Correct. There's people in his kitchen.
And they start talking to him, and one is the guy he gave a toonie to. I remember
it's the
Canadian
homeless
words.
People. Well, and specifically, these homeless people actually burned up in the fire that we had at the beginning in that building.
Oh yeah, they burned to death in the house that they were squatting in. Yeah.
Yes, and that he snuck into.
Yeah.
So then now he's haunted.
The lady is giving him a recipe to write down. Which is like rotten eggs and dead flies and all this other stuff.
Yeah, she says he has to remember it because he can't write it down or get the recipe because it's her only treasure left.
Yeah, it's the only treasure. And if you write it down, you'll be cursed. Which he never does. He never writes it down, except for later when it's written down for him because he can't remember it.
Yeah, because she gives it to him eventually, yeah. So they also have a like Gremlins style rule with the recipe. First of all, he has to say, "Put it on your head" after everything that she says in the recipe,
and then he has to sing, "Don't you put it in your mouth."
And he has to go to, she goes 5 dead flies and goes, "Don't you put it in your mouth," and then she goes,
"Put it on your head,"
and a rotten peanut and a rotten banana. "Don't you put it in your mouth."
One really ripe banana. Come on, say it. One really ripe banana.
One really ripe banana.
Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth. Good. 5 dead flies.
5 dead flies.
Don't you stuff it in your face. Don't stuff it in your face. Good.
Come on, Mary.
1 rotten egg.
1 rotten egg.
Heck, don't you put it in your mouth.
Hurry it up, Mary. Yeah.
Once he gets all of it, she says, okay, and make sure only 1 spoonful of Skippy branded peanut butter, the best peanut butter.
Which every child will want after watching this film.
It's actually a paper motion from Skippy.
Yes.
Known trivia. But anyway, tells him, you can't put any more peanut butter than that, or you will suffer the consequences.
So it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's that
classic fairy tale.
Don't feed them after midnight.
So he makes the concoction, but his dad and his sister mom watches him do it, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna poison himself. this child is so depressed from being bald. He's gonna drink dirt.
He's got like dead flies and soil and all this weird shit in it."
And he's like, "No, I wasn't gonna drink it, you idiots. I'm making a horrible monstrosity and a evil concoction for a ritual, you dummies."
So then the ghosts have to come back because he forgot the recipe now because they threw away the recipe the first time.
Yeah.
Threw away his mixture. And he has to do it again. And she gives him the recipe this time, like, as the piece of paper that she was reading it off of. It just feels like such padding at this point. Because, like, what's the point of...
I don't know. But that morning, he washes off the peanut butter. Because he makes the solution again. And he paints it on his head.
But it's too thin, so he keeps adding more and more peanut butter to it to get it thick enough so that it doesn't run.
I have painted figurines before. Well, you gotta thin your paints, actually. You want to thin it so that it runs down and creates these nice streaks. He did the opposite thing. He thickened the paint. Now I'm thinking about it.
He thickened it too much.
He fucked up his paint.
He kept thickening it because he didn't want it to run down because he goes, oh no, I'll grow hair on my palms, like she said.
Yeah, or my head, my face.
And my head, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a teen
drip
wolf.
Everywhere.
I get it.
Man, if I let this run down, it might accidentally go into my pubes and then make my... Anyway, so he puts too much peanut butter in it.
He puts too much peanut butter on, and as he's painting it, he's like, wow, I'm a better painter than my depressed dad in the attic.
Yes!
My horrible, worthless father.
I'm a better painter than Dad.
Could a depressed person paint like this on my head? Ha! I don't think so.
So then that morning he starts growing like a little bit of hair. Mm-hmm. And then it keeps cutting to more and more shots of the hair growing back. He's got like, I don't know, like fuzz, and then it turns into like short hair, and then it starts kind of growing longer and longer throughout the day. It's at an unusual growth rate of hair.
And extremely unusual. Like by the end of the day, he looks like fucking Cousin It.
And he goes to school, and the hair is distracting. He's like, hey, my hair keeps growing, and all the kids are like touching his head, which is uncomfortable. Stop touching my fucking hair.
And then Connie starts like cutting and braiding it in the middle of all their classes, which distracts the teachers. And the teachers all threaten to leave the school.
I'm gonna leave the school if you keep growing your fucking hair, Mike.
What the fuck is this?
Human hair only grows at half an inch a month, you idiot. Now let me get back to my trigonometry.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is the whole time he's going, well, but I can't stop going to school. I need an education.
I need an education.
Like children do. They all talk like adults. This thing is... Like, every 30 seconds or so throughout this whole movie, you and I kept on looking at each other and going, What?
He does a speech about how he wants to be educated in school. And the other students are clapping like, yeah, I love education.
Yeah, like he stands up and gives a rousing speech. It's fucking weird. It's so weird.
Okay, down to Miss Prune. Both of you.
Sir, for 2 weeks now I've been bald. We did everything to get my hair back. Nothing worked. At last, I tried this extremely dangerous mixture. It worked, but now my hair won't stop. My only chance is for this guy to keep on cutting. Please let me stay. I want to be educated.
Quiet.
Not just Harry.
Quiet.
It's so
3 cheers
weird.
for education, children. Hooray! It's like they're all like fucking, oh god, what's the character in Simpsons? But the goody two-shoes, kind of like, they're all that. Like, it's ridiculous.
But that evening, I guess, he goes back, he has his long, luscious hair.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be like a hard rocker, a metal guy in Stranger Things in the future. You know, I get it.
Yeah, he's in hair metal bands, yeah.
And he shows Connie his hair. Connie's like, hey, how'd you do that? Oh, I just did an evil ritual.
Yeah.
I made a concoction.
Don't worry, it's just a ghost serum.
And Connie's like, wow, can I have some? Well, you already have hair, Connie. You don't need hair. Come on. Idiot.
This is one of the parts that I remember.
And then Connie's like, no,
I wish I'd forgotten.
I just want to grow really long pubes. And it's like, okay, movie.
I just wish I had
like,
the biggest pubes.
Like a curly mustache down there, that's all.
Good stalling. Now how did you make it grow? This. My secret recipe. Yeah, where'd you get it? It's a long story. I'll tell you later. Put that on your head? Does it hurt? No, but it's dangerous. Let me try it. Why? You don't need it. You got lots of hair. Sure, but what? Well, I'll put some down there. Are you crazy? No, get out of here and let a guy do what he's got to do.
What? And then it hard cuts from there to Mike having a fever dream about dogs pinning him down and pulling him by the hair along the ground and attacking him. And what the fuck was that about?
And then they go to school again, and Connie is barbering his hair, and they both get called to the principal's office because they're not allowed to do that anymore, so they're basically getting expelled. And the principal goes, looks like you have your own problems, Connie. And it shows his gigantic pubes growing out of the bottom of his pants.
I hate it.
And it's like long, luscious, like...
I need to reiterate, this is not something we made up.
No, this is real. This is real.
Real Canadian content.
This is the real Canadian school experience. So he's got his pubes are too long, and it's a problem. And so he's like wishing at night. He goes, "Oh, I wish my pubes would stop growing." And then they do, because they thankfully never mention them again for the rest of it.
Hey, this is weird. We should stop talking about this.
Yeah, because he woke up in the middle of the night scratching his legs because his pubes were too long and itchy. And then he wishes that they would stop growing, and then they just do. But Michael is not so lucky, and so Michael runs away from home because he's so sad that he can't go to school anymore.
As he's running away, his dad's like, no, they don't want you at school anymore, Mike.
Yes!
They don't want you there. No education for you, Michael.
You're not allowed to go to school, Mike. You can't.
And the whole time, there's also these stories about kids getting abducted or something, I think. Or maybe that happens shortly after.
No, it just happens after. It happens all at once. Because he goes missing.
Right, because Signor abducts Michael.
Yeah, they don't even show it, though. Michael just is gone.
He's just gone.
He's underneath, like, so he's hiding underneath a porch. This was the wildest thing for me, because, like, the way they introduce this plot point has to be stated, because it's so fucked. Because he's underneath a porch as, like, sad music plays and, like, rain's coming down, and he's basically, like, sheltering himself homeless underneath his gigantic, luscious loft. And then it has, like, sister, mom, and the dad talking, and they're like, Michael's gone missing. And then she goes, yeah, and 20 other kids from school, too.
And then it does, like, a newsreel of, like, kids missing in French.
Yes, and then it's all French language newspaper, kids missing.
Yep. They're like, what? But it hard cuts from that to Signor...
That's how it does this.
Having Michael tied down to a table, and he's feeding him pudding?
Yes, and then it shows him lovingly feeding Michael pudding cups.
I need to reiterate, this is not something we made up.
in a, like, really weird, like, it's like a coffin bed, because it's almost like he's in a coffin.
Yeah, it's weird, but okay, so Michael's been abducted and is being fed pudding.
By the art teacher. By his art teacher that does not have a name anymore because he gave it up.
Who wants you to draw dogs that are real, not imaginary.
Correct. You can only he's fighting a war against imagination.
Anyway. So Sister Mom and Connie go to the art store.
I'm fucking dying.
To buy something for depressed dad. To make him feel better about Mike being abducted and missing.
Yes.
So they go to the art store, and the art guy is like, oh, maybe you want this. It just came in. It's a new shipment of brushes. Look at this. Ho, ho, ho.
They're really cool.
They're really shitty.
And they're worth $20 a piece.
$20 a piece. And then they're looking at it. They're like, hey, wait. You see this hair? Yeah, it sucks. The thing looks like it's terrible for art.
It looks so bad for art because it's like floppy hair. It's hair.
It's like
you need bristles.
It's not a fan brush. It's not like hard bristles. That thing is it's a mop. It's a mop.
It's awful.
It's a mop. But the sister's like, wait, I know this hair. I have cut this hair.
I've been stroking it lovingly for weeks.
But this isn't his kind of brush. It's weird. It's flimsy. Connie, feel this hair. So? It's hair. Bristles, hairs, what's the difference? I know this hair. I've cut this hair.
They're the human hair brushes at the art store. They start talking to the shopkeeper. He's like, hey, where'd you get these brushes? Oh, a guy in a red truck I've never heard of who won't tell me his name just drops it off in an alley behind the store every Saturday.
And I buy them from him. It's human hair brushes. He goes to all the art stores and gives them.
You should come by and see when the order gets dropped off.
What? Remember how we say what every 2 minutes in this movie?
So then,
what?
Then the kids do a stakeout outside the shop, and they see the red truck show up. And Signor walks out with his dog, but he's wearing a human hair fur coat.
Yes. And occasionally, only occasionally, most of the time the dog is just the dog.
Yeah.
But then once in a while, in the middle of the scenes where the dog is not wearing anything, the dog will also now be wearing a human hair coat.
Yes.
But only sometimes, just randomly in the middle of, with no
when they remembered to do it. When they remembered to do it.
Yes. It's such a terrible continuity error constantly. It's amazing.
But he walks by the sister mom. He's like, oh, I can give you a ride home if you want in my unmarked van. She's like, no, I'm good. But Connie climbs in the back with some paint and a tube. So that when Signor drives away, he can leave a paint trail that sister mom can follow on her bike. So then we get a Celine Dion song montage.
Not just a Celine Dion song. This is literally a song made for this movie, and, quick trivia fact, it is the first Celine Dion song in English anywhere on the planet.
Again, this is not made up.
This is not made up. She does 2 songs for this, and they are both the first English language Celine Dion songs.
So there's a song about a magic man, which is definitely a drug dealer.
Called Listen to the Magic Man, yes. Yeah,
listen to the coke. I get it. Or the meth, as we find out later. It's probably meth.
It's probably, yeah.
But because of a very specific connection that happens later. And anyways, so she's following the truck, but then a street cleaner wipes away the paint, which I guess is sugar later, I find out.
Yeah.
Which is even weirder because it's been a week in time from when she loses the trail and finds it again, but if it's sugar, it had to have rained or something in that week to wash it away,
Blown,
right?
Like
there's no way
it,
sugar survived a week.
It also is very obviously paint.
It's very obviously wet white paint. Yeah.
Yes.
But she loses the trail, and then Connie gets caught by Signor. And Connie's like, no, I'm not a child who was in your art class. I'm Inspector Man. Inspector Adult.
Yes. From the Child Abduction Division.
Ah, a spy from Micro, hein?
No, an inspector from the kidnapping division.
Oh, yeah, kidnapping division. Come with me, you, come.
And then Signor's like, oh, child abduction. Well, you want to inspect the factory?
Oh,
I got a slave
specialize in
sweatshop
child
right over
abductions,
here.
huh?
Let me show you, yeah.
Sure, let me abduct you, child.
So then he takes him to his hair paintbrush factory sweatshop for children.
Yep. And we learn why Michael is in the weird coffin bed.
Being fed
because
yogurt or
being fed the special yeah, they say that it's a special yogurt diet. And he gets it's because there's like this big weird headboard so they can feed his hair out of it into the sweatshop floor. That's why he's confined to his coffin bed. So and fed weird puddings.
Yeah.
And all the children are working on making brushes, and then they show Connie how the new paintings that Signor is making are now magic paintings that are made through imagination, the thing that Signor is having his war
that
against and apparently lost. Apparently he lost the war on imagination. And
well, yeah,
you can
once you have magic hairbrushes made of human hair, you can little imagination, you know.
And you can walk into the paintings, but because they're real.
You can walk in, they're real. However, they're not real places, so they don't let you escape from the sweatshop.
Yes, because you can only go to what the paintings show, so it's not like they teleport you into the real world. You would just be stuck in whatever that area is, so they can't use it as a way to escape, so they've got to think of a different way to escape from the magic human hairbrush child sweatshop from the Spanish French man who has no name.
And then it hard cuts back to the dad. So earlier the dad was
yeah, there's also a dad here, by the way.
The depressed dad who paints bird people in the attic he tried to sell some stuff to an art dealer earlier, but the only thing the art dealer wanted was his depressed painting of his family playing tennis. But he doesn't want to sell his depressed painting of his family playing tennis because it's a birthday present for his sister mom.
His daughter mom. His daughter wife.
What?
And she really likes tennis paintings that are like 12 feet by 10 feet.
Yeah, that's huge. It's like wall-sized. Yeah.
And she even she critiques his ass. She fucking roasts his ass on it. She's like, hey, you ever done an anatomy course, motherfucker? You don't hold a tennis racket like that.
There's also scenes where the dad's drawing like depressed paintings of depressed bald Mike that are depressed.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
he uses his... Yeah.
And anyways, the reason this is important is because the guy he tried to sell the paintings to didn't want his awful bird paintings. Is the brother of Signor, who is also the brother of some other guy that they met. I don't remember what that guy is.
He was an art dealer.
An art dealer. Well, there's the art dealer.
He was another...
Are there two art dealer brothers?
Yeah, he was just another art dealer. He was like the one that was supplying the brushes everywhere and stuff. Like, so he was selling,
okay.
Like, art supplies.
So the art supply, the art dealer.
And he was like, I think he was both. I think that they said he was, because he had like his own, studio. He had like a studio kind of thing.
But
and he was a twin brother.
There's that. They're twins, but they're not identical.
They're not identical twins.
Idiot.
Jeez.
But they're brothers of Signor, who is also a brother, we find out, of a guy who died in a fire, which could be anyone.
Right. Yes.
Because that's the guy that Mike gave $2.
Certainly could not be the homeless
man. Ghost.
Ghost.
And then they're like, oh yeah, of course I buy his magic paintings to sell. What are you, stupid? He has a sweatshop. They're great paintings. And the dad, like, threatens him. So he's like, okay, no, don't worry. He'll come on Friday. But today is Tuesday.
We can't wait that long.
God. Anyways. Then it cuts back to the children in the sweatshop. And
I will give you $10 today for your brother
and Connie wants to escape that night. But he can't because there's invisible tripwires. So then one of the kids is like, here, have my invention that finds invisible tripwires.
Yep.
Where are you going, Connie? I'm gonna see Michael. You can't. That floor is full of tripwires. They're invisible. I mean, you can't go. You touch one and he's gonna wake up. Then I won't. I already told you they're invisible. Look, I came in to save Michael, okay? Okay, take my invention. It's invisible strain detector.
So then he uses the invisible tripwire finder to find the tripwires that are attached to a ring on Signore's head.
That's melted down, like, multiple forks. It's very obviously, like, tines of forks that are melted down and then, like, attached to his hands so that it's all these strings out everywhere. This movie is fucking wild.
So then Connie tries to escape, and they end up, like, doing a bunch of shit. And he gets these giant human-sized darts to throw at Signore.
Yeah, where the fuck did those come from?
But then Signore takes a hostage, who is Connie's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then Connie's like, no, it's okay. Stop punishing me, because he throws him in a net and starts spinning him around above the children as an example. And Connie's like, no, all I ever wanted was to be your son, because my father died in the war.
Yes. And one of the kids goes up to her and goes, hey, isn't your dad shut the fuck up! Shut up! Shut up!
Shut the fuck up!
Shut up! Shut up!
Goddamn
all the kids are like, wow, he's a really good liar. One kid's so good.
And then Signore's like, well, if you want to be my son, I guess come on over here.
I've always wanted a son. My boy!
And my son here has asked me to paint something for him to show all you wonderful children how the magic of human hair painting works. Fuck.
Please, Daddy, show us the magic of human hair painting.
So Signore makes a human hair painting of the burned down building. Because Connie tricks him into it.
Please, Father, I need to see the place where all the horror started. What?
Yep.
Can you show me where your brother died in a fire?
I want to see the fright. Show me the fright. So then
he's like dancing around, painting, all happy.
In the opening of a Bob Ross episode, there's like Bob painting, and it does this green screen reveal effect of the finished painting.
Yeah, like it's like you hit it with a splotch, and it just like bursts out into that finished painting.
That's what they do, and I'm sure it looked great in '85. To be honest, it's not that bad of an effect.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it looks okay. But it's just weird.
But he makes the painting, and then Connie's like, no, I asked you to show me the fright. Oh, well, I can't do that. I can only draw the building where my brother burned to death.
The brush only knows the building. It doesn't know the fright because it never saw it.
So you need to go into the window and look yourself, Signore. That's how you get the fright. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I gotta.
Oh, I mean, if you say so.
So then he climbs up, goes in the window.
What?
Gets frightened. Which gives which gives him the hairum scarum.
Fine, I guess I'll go and see my brother's burned corpse.
And then after he comes back out, he's Walter White.
This is the moment that Signore becomes Heisenberg.
He becomes Heisenberg. Literally.
He's extremely Heisenberg coded. It's hard to explain how Heisenberg he is. He looks so much like Bryan Cranston, like, the goatee
I'm
and
the
everything.
One who knocks.
Look out behind you!
I am the one who knocks.
Well, it's true that he's the one that knocks because he comes in from another door.
That's also true later.
Like, because Michael, like,
because Michael climbs in. Michael climbs in.
Yeah, Michael climbs into the painting, and he has to come back out from the painting.
Yes.
Because like they said, you have to go... Like, the painting isn't real, it's only just, like, its own little world of what you've drawn. But yeah, that doesn't apply, apparently, to Signor, because Signor comes in from, like, a door in the real world. Like, from a different place. Like, he somehow left and then came back. What the fuck?
It's so funny seeing Heisenberg open a door in this movie.
So good.
Just ready to beat up some children.
Starts beating children.
But so Mike went into the painting to confront the hairum scarum, the fright. And it turns out the fright is just the two homeless people that died and that were scary ghosts. And he's like, oh, you're not scary.
Oh, yeah.
You're just Canadian ghosts.
Oh, man, you are just ghosts, eh?
So he's
Can
not...
you help me with my hair, eh?
He's not scared of the fright anymore, or whatever.
And that makes his hair not fall out, but also not grow weird anymore.
Yes. I guess.
I guess?
So it goes back to the real world. And Signor is Walter White.
It's the real world where Heisenberg is beating up children.
And Heisenberg is start punching children, kicking them, throwing tiny nets on them, getting them back to the sweatshop. But at the same time, Sister Mom has found the sugar trail, the paint trail.
Yes.
And has brought the brothers, who are hooked on the brothers. And they grab Signor to like, hey, we told you no more abducting children for hair sweatshops.
Hey, listen, I know that you don't have a name anymore because you gave it up for your dark magic, but...
And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, my bad. Can I at least take my dog with me when we leave the sweatshop? I love my dog. Well, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that scamp.
Can I have my human hair shirt still, though? I kind of like it.
No, you have to leave that. Yeah. No, that's evidence.
Can the dog have his human hair shirt?
Maybe. Anyway, so it cuts from that to Mike goes home with the parents or with the dad and Sister Mom and Connie, and as he's going back into his house, the mom pulls up from Australia.
Yeah, she actually was in a farm in upstate Australia.
Dead somehow. And then Celine Dion starts singing again, but the tracking is very, very sarcastic.
Very bad. Oh my god. So they keep on fiddling with the hi-fi audio back and forth.
Yeah. Which really adds to the experience, to be honest. It's way better.
The darkest memories all come clearer when you open your eyes.
Really did.
And then the movie ends, and I don't know what the fuck I just watched.
You watched me from 35 years ago sitting in front of it. Oh, okay, 35,
Like,
30 years ago.
So you just had your 12th pixie stick, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah. We're both sitting Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, and
before any of the good cartoons are
flipping
on,
the channels, and here's this
after all the cartoons are on.
Here's this child with their hand on the window, bald, looking
crying.
out, crying. You're like, oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, and then the next scene is
that?
him, like, very sadly and depressedly, like, wiping weird, like, brown shit all over his bald head as he cries.
He's like, wow, I'm so much better at painting than my dad.
Yeah. That was the screenshot that I was like, well, I've never seen this. And you're like, no, like, a lot of Canadians keep on saying that they've seen parts of this and they don't remember the whole thing. And I'm like, no, I swear I haven't. And then I saw a screenshot of him, like, tearfully wiping weird peanut butter shit all over his head with a brush, and I went, oh fuck. And it was just like that, like, back in time instantly. I had like the Ratatouille moment.
You can buy a movie poster for this.
By the way, I wasn't eating pixie sticks, it was Fun Dip.
Oh, it was Fun Dip. Yeah, my bad.
It was Fun Dip for me.
But so you can buy a poster of this. It's $6. It's on sale. I had to buy it, you know. This apparently got a revival, is what I'm saying.
I would need to buy a poster for this. Like, the poster for this is wild.
The poster's so weird, and the VHS cover is even weirder. I saw.
Yeah, the poster and the covers and stuff are really weird, and they don't even come close to capturing how weird this movie is.
Well, there is a scene where his hair is tied up in a bulb, so he can go to sleep at night. That is one of the covers, but it's a drawing of it, and that is also weird. But apparently this had a revival, is what I'm getting at. Like Canadians are remembering this. Somebody's like, "Oh fuck," and somebody found the original film for this, the film reel, and has released this on Blu-ray as their first film that they released for their production company to redistribute stuff.
Yeah, like Vinegar Films.
Like Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
And there's a Vinegar Syndrome for this, which is so weird. That's Severin Films, apparently, I think is what it was.
Yes, yeah, that's the place selling the poster.
So what I'm saying is we are doing our part to add validity to Canadians' memories of things that have scarred them when they were children that they thought they made up. And we're here to tell you, it was all fake. It was all made up. We have never seen this. Don't worry,
go back to sleep. It's okay. It's okay.
We made it up. That one's not real.
That's right, kids. Our writers faked it. That's a fib.
You are, in fact, scarred and cursed. Anyways, let's write the dog.
I'm just remembering when the government agents from the CSIS came and strapped me down and forced me to watch Peanut Butter Solution, and they were feeding me tabs of acid, and now I just have a trigger phase where you just say Peanut Butter Solution, put it on your head, and I just
you're walking down the aisle, you see Skippy out of the corner of your eye, and it just war flashbacks.
I immediately pull out a hidden gun and load it, and I'm activated.
The dog is a border collie, I think, or something like that.
No. I don't.
It could be a mutt.
It could be. I don't. Yeah. It almost feels because it feels smaller than a border collie. I'm just kind of looking.
I don't think that dog has a name though. It's just dog.
No, it gave up its name so that it could do dark magic with its owner.
Magic with its owner and make human hair coats.
Because it's in every painting that he does, by the way. We forgot to mention that. It's all of the imaginative paintings.
I think the dog is very bad at sitting during art class, which is very cute.
It kind of looks like a border collie, Jack Russell cross was kind of what I felt like.
Maybe. I think it's a cute dog. It loves human hair coats. It loves dark rituals and crime. It can't get enough of human sweatshops made of children making paintbrushes. In any other movie, this dog would have put rat poison in your tea.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is very much the satanic dog.
This is a satanic dog in disguise, which means it has to be high up on our list.
It's very much French Canadian Satan.
Oh, French Canadian Satan.
It's a French Canadian Satan out of 10 for me. It's a French Canadian out of an A.
I'd say a house hippo out of 10 is my rating.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just don't put it in your mouth.
Anyway, that's I guess
from concerned children's advertisers.
I guess that's this episode. You're welcome. Thanks for listening. This has been Rough Cuts. You can support us on Patreon if you want more of this. Fuck. You can follow us on Blue Sky at Rough Cuts.
Weird Sunday morning for me.
You can email us at roughcutscast@gmail.com.
We start this at 9 in the morning. Just want
you're gonna have to spend the whole day thinking about
my whole day.
Peanut Butter Solution. You're welcome. But somebody's gonna see this episode, be like, "What the fuck is that?" They're gonna start listening to it, and then partway through, they're gonna have that same activation that you did. And doesn't that just make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside? That we've ruined somebody's day?
I kind of feel like I fell off a haunted, burned down building, and I'm now unconscious in a coma, while Boyks rides me around in a shopping cart. And I'm gonna wake up at any moment in that shopping cart and be okay, and I won't remember the peanut butter solution.
I just realized, if they got hit by the red truck during this, it would have been a different type of hairum scarum. It would have been an isekai hairum scarum.
It already is an isekai. He gets fucking isekai. His hair gets isekai'd.
Anyway, that's it. That's it.
I don't have an ending. I can't.
There we go. Canadian content.
Oh my god, I've seen this. Oh my god, I've seen some of this. Wait, no.
No, this isn't.
I'm looking at stuff and it's like I'm getting flashbacks, dude. This fucking sucks. You might stop triggering my Canadian like activation phrases. What the fuck? What?
What? I don't what?
My whole life ruined by dogs.